right. Now, just hours after reports of 2 more cheetah deaths surfaced in Kuno National Park, the National Tiger Conservation Authority constituted a 11-member cheetah project steering committee to take stock of India's cheetah crisis and consider options for relocation. Meanwhile, the total number of cheetah deaths in Kuno National Park now stands at 6. Remember, this is the 4th such death since Tuesday. Now, an initial probe suggests that the cheetah cub died of weakness and soaring temperatures. The Supreme Court had earlier expressed serious concerns over the cheetah deaths, saying the cheetah should be shifted to Rajasthan if they're not safe in Madhya Pradesh.
आज फोर्क में भारत सरकार, मध्य प्रदेश सरकार और जिन देशों से चीते आए हैं वो लोग तय करते हैं कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा। अभी मध्य प्रदेश में हम 3 जगह शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं जो पहले से तय है। गांधी सागर में हम 6 महीने के अंदर शिफ्ट कर रहे हैं, कुछ बाकी हम नोरादही शिफ्ट करेंगे।
सर, राजस्थान तो नहीं करेंगे?
मेरी जानकारी में नहीं है, टास्क फोर्स वाले बता पाएंगे।
चीतों की डेथ की सूचना आ रही है, अब तक 3 शावक मृत हो चुके हैं, क्या वजह सामने आई?
इसमें एक तो माल नरिश्ड हैं, वो मतलब अंडरवेट हैं, वजन जितना होना चाहिए उनको 8 सप्ताह की उम्र के हिसाब से उतना वजन नहीं है, और डिहाइड्रेटेड बहुत ज़्यादा, जो संभवतः लगता है कि जो एक्सेसिव हीट बहुत ज़्यादा गर्मी के कारण से ऐसा हुआ होगा, ऐसा हम समझते हैं। और उस दिन 23 को वहाँ पे लोकल टेम्परेचर भी लगभग 46-47 डिग्री था।
कैसे चौथे शावक को और बाकी चीतों को सेव करेंगे?
उस जो चौथा शावक है उसको तो हम वेटनरी हॉस्पिटल में लेके आए हुए हैं, वहाँ पे वो एक्सपर्ट लोगों की निगरानी में है। वो
आखिरी सवाल करूँगा, चीतों की पोस्टमार्टम रिपोर्ट जो डेथ हुई है जिन चीतों की, उनमें अब तक गर्मी के अलावा और कोई रीजंस आपको मिले हैं जिसको लेकर के कोई अलग से प्रिकॉशन लेने की ज़रूरत पड़ रही हो?
जी नहीं, एक जो नर जो मरा था उसमें उसके मौत की अभी हिस्टोपैथो एग्जामिनेशन अभी नहीं आई थी, उसमें हम लोग इंटरेस्टेड हैं कि किस कारण से हुआ, बट बाकी 2 तो एविडेंट थे। ये चीज़ें देखिए, ये चीता ट्रांसलोकेशन में चीता जो एक्शन प्लान बना है उसमें भी ये लिखा है, स्पष्ट तौर पे ये लिखा गया है कि 1 साल के अंत तक अगर 50% आपके चीता जिंदा रहते हैं तो वो काफ़ी सफलता उसकी मानी जाएगी। तो हमें इसको लेकर के पैनिक नहीं करना चाहिए।
To get us more perspective on this story, I'm joined in by Ajay Suri, who is a wildlife expert and wildlife filmmaker. Ajay, thank you very much for taking the time out and joining us here on Mirror. Now, you know, as we speak about this crisis, do you think that the program is suffering a setback? Why would this case happen, in your opinion? Do you think they are in chronic stress after suffering months in captivity? Is that one way to look at it?
There will be multiple answers to this question. Number one, it's a deeply disturbing development. But to say that the cheetah translocation project has failed, or whether this is, or if it's the end of the road for cheetah in India, is absolutely incorrect. You know, any wildlife expert would tell you that when it comes to big cats, the mortality rate of the cubs is very, very high. In fact, the survival rate of the cubs of big cats, whether it's cubs of tigers or leopards or lions, I mean, the survival rate is very, very poor. In fact, there are so many elements within the forest. In fact, the forest itself, which breeds them, turns out to be their biggest danger. And this is what has happened here also. You know, I have seen tigresses who have lost all their 4 cubs, 3 cubs, leopards who have lost their cubs. This is what happens in the forest. The survival rate is very low. But here, I think what has happened is that nobody was actually foreseeing so many deaths in such a short span. So this has actually, for many naysayers who earlier were against this project, they would be like jumping in anger and saying, look, we had told you before also that this is not this translocation should not have been done. But I personally feel that although this is a setback, This is also the time for some kind of a course correction. Don't forget that just last month, the Madhya Pradesh Forest Department itself wrote to NTCA, the National Tiger Conservation Authority, that some of the cheetahs should be shifted to another place, preferably Mukundra Hills in Rajasthan. Now, whether that happens or not for political or other reasons, I don't know. But there are other sane voices, which have been telling us that cheetahs just cannot survive in an open forest. Even in Africa, in all the places, the national parks, the sanctuaries, the reserves where cheetahs are surviving, they're all fenced. So you have to have a fence at the perimeter. Now, I wonder when this thing was being planned, before the cheetahs were brought from Namibia, South Africa, and other places, why this thing was not done? Why wait for such a calamity to happen and then think of all these things? A lot of things are coming to my mind, but certainly, I would say that the project has suffered a setback, but to say that it has failed or it's the end of the road for cheetah in India would be totally incorrect.
Ajay, as you make those significant points, in your opinion, what kind of precautionary measures can be taken at this point of time? You also spoke about probably a possibility of them being relocated to Rajasthan, but like you said, we'll have to wait and watch if that's going to happen. But do you think that will help?
Really, I really don't know, but I think this would help because it would give more breathing space, a new kind of terrain to the cheetahs. And don't forget, most of the deaths which have taken place, barring one death of the female cheetah who was actually killed by the male cheetahs, all others, 3 cubs, they have died. I mean, one cheetah died of kidney problem, and 3 cubs apparently they died of other reasons like dehydration and weakness. But what I want to stress is that the cheetahs in India, they have yet to see the big dangers. Once they are taken out of the fence, don't forget, cheetahs will have to fight 2 big predators in India, which is the leopard and the lion, and they haven't faced those predators. In Africa, a lot of cheetahs die at the hands of leopards and the lions. So, to say that, what you're saying makes some sense, but I think a proper study, if it has not been done, it has to be done at an accelerated speed now. And you have to find, like I said, you have to do some kind of a mid-course correction now. NTCA will have to take a decision, but I believe that, it could also be political in a way. Mukundra Hill, let me tell you, that place was supposed to be the new ground for tigers. Not many people know, but when the tigers of Ranthambore, they reached a point where, they were spilling out of the park and there were a lot of conflicts with humans. Then a tiger corridor was mooted between Ranthambore and Mukundra Hill. And now there is this talk of Mukundra cheetahs being brought to Mukundra Hill. Now that could be a fantastic step. But again, it's a political quagmire, and a political decision will have to be taken. But like today, I was hearing that some authorities in the Madhya Pradesh, they were saying that they have located a few areas in MP. But I'm not sure if they have located those areas now. How come? We were not informed about it earlier. Is it a post-haste decision after these deaths? So it looks like there is some bit of confusion in the authorities, both at the political level and the forest department level, and things are a bit murky. But let me again emphasize that we'll have to wait and watch. The mortality rate of big cats, as it is in a forest, is quite high, and the survival rate of cubs is all the more low. So I mean, this can be a bit of a shocking news, but actually, if you look at it, it's how the nature functions.
Talking about how nature functions, if you could also talk to us about the range quality that's also important that we understand with the need for open or semi-open habitat. How does that function when we, talk about cheetahs?
I'll tell you, before cheetahs were brought to India, a lot of study was done as to find the ideal, locate the ideal habitat of cheetah, and Kuno actually fits the bill. It has rolling hills, but it also has large, tracts of grasslands, which would, enable the cheetahs to run at their, celebrated speed and catch the prey. All that is fine. But like I said, in Africa, cheetahs just cannot survive in an unfenced territory. So, in fact, I was just reading about this interview by a leading expert in South Africa who said that 15 attempts were made to make cheetahs survive in unfenced locations in South Africa, and all 15 efforts failed. Now, I'm not saying that the 16th effort would also fail. One can always try. And secondly, the topography, the terrain, the predator-prey equation in Africa would be very different from what's there in India. In fact, in Africa, I believe a cheetah would have to work twice as hard to grab a prey, because impala and gazelle, they run like really fast. Our cheetahs and smaller deer, they are no match for them. So that way, it should make hunting by cheetah should make things easier in India. But like I said, it's an evolving state for cheetahs. They're still not acclimatized to the conditions in India, and we only hope that with the passage of a few more months or maybe in a year or two, this acclimatization will, make a complete circle, and then cheetahs would actually make India their true home. But in between, these kind of fatalities, these kind of setbacks, they're bound to happen.
On that note, Ajay Suri, I want to thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking to us on Mirror Now, and also breaking that down into context for our viewers. But for the moment, we will leave it